if you find something that makes you happy, I think that's the key. And that is the thing you have to stay focused on. And that's a way to find out what's important in life.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good morning, Marvin Jacobs. Previously, episode 1914 of the 12-Minute Convos podcast. It's been just 2 years, 1 month, 12 days, 22 hours, and 15 minutes since we last recorded that conversation. That was then. This is now. Marvin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you?
I am excellent. I get to prepare for these conversations by listening to your voice from 2 years ago, and it's really a grand opportunity, I'll tell you, to see how things have evolved. When we last spoke, you were about to release a podcast. You were working on the podcast, The Journey, right? What was really cool was the way you entered into the space, because you said you had an hour and a half commute to work and you started listening to podcasts, right?
That's right.
You turned something that could have been terrible, right, into something that was positive. Please tell me how things evolved today.
Yeah, well, actually, since the last time we spoke, a lot of things happened. In 2017, I was working on my very first podcast series, which I was making on behalf of KLM Royal Dutch Airlines. And it was a podcast about the trip that changed everything. So it was a podcast series about amazing trips. People told their experiences about a trip that altered the course of their life for good. We released the series in 2018 in spring. And actually, the show did very well. We got a lot of recognition worldwide and in our own country also. Yeah, we won several awards. We were nominated for a Webby Award. We won a Red Dot Award, Lovey Award. So yeah, it was really amazing what happened after the release of this show. I had a lot of attention from the media worldwide. So I think something like 150 articles on the World Wide Web and a lot of social media things. So, it was a sort of wow. And it was my first series. So I really didn't know what was going on. So it was such a great thing that what happened. And with, all the positive things inspired us to set up a separate media or audio agency, which is called Airborne. So the Airborne agency is connected to the agency I worked for quite some time yet, but from this audio agency, we're now focusing fully on audio and podcasts. So we're doing other shows now as well. So yeah, I'm not a creative director of this audio agency. so I'm a very happy man, and it's it's so exciting that something that started with a sort of passion for this medium finally ended. Well, it's not ended yet, but that we came at this point so far. So yeah, that's really something. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a happy man.
Yeah, congratulations. There are
Thank
two
you.
things that come to mind when we look back from the perspective of your earliest childhood memory, which you shared with us, which left that scar on your right hand. And you said that you're reminded of it, right? But I mean, you've broken through the glass ceiling, if you would, into podcasting, as well as, I'm guessing you use your right hand a lot, right, when editing.
Yeah, I love that metaphor. That's really cool.
It's amazing. So this podcast is going, how has it affected your family life? Are you still doing the commute, the 1.5 hour commute, or are you working from home now?
I still commute a lot, but less frequent than I did before.
Okay.
But I still have a lot of time to listen to great shows from all over the world. And so, yeah, I still find the time to listen to podcasts because that's the thing I'm really passionate about. So, yeah. And my family life, to answer that question, is doing quite well. I have a a great 10-year-old son who is since the last 2 years fully into saxophone playing. So
Wow.
I now live in a house where you often can hear, the melodies of Charlie Parker or John Coltrane, and
Sweet.
all the big
Wow.
jazz heroes. Yeah. And it's so cool that he also find his passion in saxophone playing, and so that brings a lot of joy in our house. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And your wife?
She's working on a manuscript or I don't know if that's the right English word, but for a for her next book. So she already wrote a lot of interesting and very nice, exciting books, and she's now working on her next one. So
That's
yeah.
wonderful. From your last conversation, your English has improved tremendously as well, I would say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Yeah. Maybe that's the international podcast scene I'm now in.
I would think
So
so, yeah. Like dust your right shoulder, your left shoulder off with your right hand, right?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's really wonderful. That's really wonderful. So, I usually ask a question about the voice, and I'm really fascinated by what is being uncovered in terms of the power of a voice, the voices we hear, the voices we choose to follow. Before I even ask that question, though, that voice that speaks to you, that urges you on, is it a voice that speaks in your language or is it an English language? Have you ever
Oh,
considered that?
yeah. That's an interesting question. No. I think I am. I think it will be a Dutch voice, so in my own language.
Mm,
Yeah.
understood.
Absolutely. I'm not bilingual.
Yeah, so when you hear that voice, right? Of course, there are many voices. Even a conversation, listening to a podcast, you're hearing a voice that's saying, wow, I could do that, or oh, I'm not sure. How do you discern which voice to follow? I mean, you set up the podcast, right? From
Mm-hmm.
listening to a podcast, and there was a point where there was a choice to take action or not. So, how do you define that voice?
I think that the most important thing of that voice is the most important message is to stay true to your dreams. To
Mm,
find the answer, what is really important to do for yourself. I think that's the most important thing. So and it's always hard to find that voice. I think because I did a lot of different things in my past lives, and I did from script writing to writing article as a journalist, but to find your real passion, I think that's quite hard. To find out what your passion is, and the only thing to find that passion is to start doing things and to set things in motion, because if you set things in motion, then you experience what makes you happy and what doesn't. So yeah, if you find something that makes you happy, I think that's the key, and that is the thing you have to stay focused on. And well, that's a way to find out what's important in life.
mm.
I don't know if that makes any sense what I'm saying right now, but
I believe it does. My wife actually came up with this acronym for wealth, and it summarizes what you just explained there. It says when essential action leads to happiness. And
hmm
we quantified that as true wealth, right? Like that is wealth.
yeah,
That is wealth.
absolutely.
In the midst of it, there's lifespan, right? There's the beginning and the ending, the possibility that you could die today or tomorrow. How do you plan your days? That's something that's in the forefront of your mind or in the back end?
Um, I think somewhere in between, to be honest. Yeah, sometimes it pops up, and then I think about it. Especially, let's say I'm now in my late 40s, and that's so yeah, I would say that I'm now on the half of my life, probably. I hope. So that makes you think, okay, am I happy what I'm doing now, and how will the second half of my life look like, and how can I influence that? And So that are questions that sometimes pop up. Yeah, and I think that one of the most important thing is, well, it's actually quite connected to what you just said before, and that's finding wealth in in happiness and being being happy and have connections with the people I love. So that's my family in the first place, but also with friends and colleagues and other great people I met in my working life. So yeah, I think those things are important, and I think it's important to enjoy that.
Well, I can tell you, Marvin, it's a grand opportunity to get to call in, right, and be your podcast accountability partner and find out that you've not given up, right? That you've not given up, and the seeds that you've planted have beared fruit. And again, congratulations. You could have kept that for yourself, but you've decided to share with humanity. So thank you for your service to humanity. In closing, you're welcome. In closing, Marvin, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Well, I would say that I'm again feel very honored to be a part of this project. I mean, that's really something for me. I mean, I do not talk to a great podcast host who is located in the Caribbean every day. So, so I feel very honored to be part of this, and and I hope that we stay in touch. And I love to be a part of your next project. So I would say let's keep in touch.
Yeah, most definitely, Marvin. Again, well, folks, Marvin Jacobs. Of course, you can check out the journey. Right, where's the best place for us to go to keep up with what's going on with you?
I think my LinkedIn profile would be a very good one, and I think I will upload a biography to your website. So there's also some links included in that one.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, again, Marvin, a pleasure, a treasure. Thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.